I'm Coach Miller, and welcome to All Marine Fighter, our Aftermath edition with Gilberto Ramirez versus Joe Smith. This cruiserweight bout between two decent fighters, each with their own background and history. I'm going to get into the detail of what I think about this fight and where they're going to go from here. And of course, if you do like this video and what I got to say, hit that like button and subscribe button because that helps get the content out. Now, on to the review. Now, with Joe Smith, he's been around in the division for a while. He made his name beating Bernard Hopkins. That's where Hopkins got knocked out of the ring. And hey, Joe Smith, that boy hits hard. You can hear the boom of his shot. I mean, you can hear the thump of the glove. He hits hard. And so he was wailing on Bernard Hopkins and knocked Bernard Hopkins out of the ring. And from there, now that was several years ago. But from there, he fought some of the top competitions. He's held, what, the WBL belt, the WBA, I think. I know he's held two belts, or no, I think he held one belt and then competed for the second one. So I think he held the WBO and then competed against Bivol for the WBA. Then he also fought Beterbiev, but Beterbiev knocked him out. But Smith has not only beaten some decent fighters, but he's competed against the top competition of light heavyweight. So, and he's entertaining too. So that being said, I gotta tell you, he's an entertaining fighter to watch. So I was kind of excited to see what was going to happen in testing this young Mexican fighter named Gilberto Ramirez. My first time seeing Ramirez fight, I wasn't that impressed. Why? I saw him beat some lesser known fighter before. It was right before the Bivol fight. I can't remember who he beat. But you watch him and you're kind of like, okay, he's kind of like got this boxing thing going, even though he's kind of a big dude. He actually reminds me of a friend of mine back when I was an amateur fighter. And I won't say his name, but he actually went to the pros and he actually fought Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Funny. Anyways, he has very much the same style, being a bigger frame dude, you know. Ramirez is more of a boxer more than he is a heavy-handed hitter. He doesn't hit people with enough power and oomph. How do I know? Every time he goes against tough competition, he gets a major pushback. That came with Dimitri Bivol. Bivol laid it to him. Bivol beat the brakes off him. You gotta look. Ramirez is a big dude. He is a big Mexican, okay? He is a big boy. So you would think that when he came in to go fight Bivol, and don't get me wrong, Bivol is a top fighter in and of himself. This fight took place right after Bivol beat Canelo. So everybody was cheering for Ramirez, and Ramirez like, yeah, I'll avenge Canelo, my Mexican brother, you know, this and that. And then Bivol beat the brakes off him too, you know. But that being said, like, Ramirez has a big frame. Man, I wish I was gifted with such a big frame like that. Man, the power that you could hit with. But he doesn't sit on his punches. He did the same thing in the Joe Smith fight. He boxed Smith, okay? I get it. That's his thing. That's his little niche there. That's cool and all. And it wins him some fights. But one thing about going up in weight, you got to hit with some power. You got to put some fear into the man that you're facing off against. Because if you don't, he's going to walk you down and pound you. That's what Bivol did, and that's what Joe Smith did. You could tell that Smith was not intimidated by Ramirez. Not one bit. So, you know what that tells me? That it only confirmed that Ramirez doesn't hit that hard. Because if somebody's walking you down the entire fight, and is eating your punches and not even budging, that means you hit pretty soft. Now, mind you, this is both fighters' cruiserweight debut, I'm pretty sure. And if we really look at Ramirez's record, I gotta tell you, it's kind of padded. He's got 40 wins. This would have been the 41st win, okay? Because he did beat Smith, but the other fighters he fought, man, it's a really padded record. It's a very padded record, and he got blatantly exposed when he fought Bivol. It's like you could tell the difference between two different classes of fighter. I mean, Bivol completely outclassed him. That's like when Canelo had to fight his mandatory yield drum. Remember that? When he was trying to collect the 168-pound belts, and he had to fight the IBF mandatory, which was, I can't remember his first name, but yield drum, and Canelo just completely outclassed him, blew him away, like easy, knocked him out super early. That's what, you saw the difference between Ramirez and Bivol, two different classes of fighter. It tells me that, look, Ramirez is just not ready. He needed to fire his coaches and get somebody different. Now, I believe he's using Malik Scott now, and it looks like he did have a little bit of a difference, but I hope Scott, since he's also working with Deontay Wilder, that he teaches Ramirez to sit on his punches, put the fear of God in some of the dudes that he's fighting against. Smith walked him down, and it only pictures in round number 7. Round number 7, Joe Smith's coach told him, you could take this guy out. Just throw some punches. This guy's easy. And I would say the only reason why Joe Smith lost is because at the latter end of the fight, he just wasn't throwing that many punches. Even his coach is telling him, like, man, you got to throw some punches. The dude's not hurting you. You can win when you want to. Throw some punches. That's the only reason why he lost that fight. It wasn't because, oh, well, Ramirez is so much better or whatever. I'm still not impressed with Zurdos Ramirez. Now, being a bigger framed fighter, you can almost see that maybe he wants to collect a few belts at cruiserweight, see how he does. And then there's talk about him jumping up to heavyweight. I wish the guy the best, but if you're a feather-fisted puncher, you're not going to make it very far if you're going to go to the heavyweight division, especially right now with the way it's stacked. There are some heavy-handed hitters. He better hope, he's probably working with Deontay Wilder right now, having Malik Scott as a common coach. So he's probably feeling some of Deontay Wilder's power and be like, oh, man, I want him to retire before I go to the heavyweight division. I like fighters that have crisp technique. They maybe have their own little bit of a flair to how they fight. I like that. Don't get me wrong. But there's nothing about Ramirez that's threatening. The only thing that he's living off of right now is, one, he's Mexican and he can command the Mexican dollar market and pay-per-views. They're really trying to sell that because they want him to be a successor to Canelo when Canelo retires, But that's all he's got going for him is that he's not doing anything fight-wise. He's not knocking dudes out or whatever. But, the Mexican fan base, they're pretty faithful to their fighters. But I got to tell you, if you're not an entertaining fighter, if you don't put butts in seats, it doesn't matter if you're Mexican or not, you're not going to get the market. They're not going to pay to watch you fight. Canelo Alvarez can charge $80 a fight, $89, whatever. His prices kind of fluctuate up and down depending upon the fighter he's fighting. But he can charge pretty much whatever he wants because he is an entertainer. And that's one of the great things about Canelo is that he's an entertainer. And whenever you watch him fight, he puts on a show. He learned that, I believe, in my humble opinion, he learned that from Floyd Mayweather Jr. Brilliant, by the way. That's how you make the most money. You don't forget, you're an entertainer first. But that being said, Zurdo's trying to be an entertainer. He's got the cowboy hat, he's representing Mexico, that type of thing. And that's cool and all. But you're trying to do the entertainment part, that's okay. But you got to start knocking people out. You got to start entertaining the crowd. Put the physical action into the entertainment. You got to get on that. Otherwise, you're going to have a pretty short career. And he's already in his 30s. So he hasn't got that much longer to fight. So he better do something pretty quick. Otherwise, Golden Boy's going to put him on the back shelf. It's happened before with other Golden Boy fighters. So especially if Ramirez catches another loss or something, that's it. He's done. They're going to throw him away. Easy. That's how that rolls in the boxing world, professional boxing world. But I wish Ramirez the best. I don't know what fight he's going to go for next. He's probably going to go for a title contention, whoever it's going to be. We'll see what happens when he's at the championship level against somebody who can pack a punch. Because cruiserweight, those boys are pretty big. So you can't get away with being too feather-fisted. That being said, we'll see what happens with him. If you like these videos, go and click that like button. And of course, if you saw the fight, make a comment down below, and I'll be sure to try to make a comment in response to every comment down below. So, and you know how YouTube works. Click that like button, that subscribe button, and make a comment, because that's how the video grows and spreads out. We have a good time talking about boxing. Until next time, stay motivated.